Christine, Stephanie, thank you very much for doing this.
Thanks for having us, Ian.
Thank you.
I know, obviously, it's been a whirlwind since winning the gold medal, but you've had a little bit of time to reflect on this. I'm going to ask you both this question, but Christine, let me start with you. From the perspective of Sunday, what's the significance of this gold medal win?
You know, our goal throughout this entire journey has been to, change the sport of soccer in Canada. And yeah, I think it's time we actually do that. We are Olympic champions. It's a moment I never thought I'd experience. But I actually think now for Canada, the real work begins and we start to really try to grow the game on a professional level. And yeah, it's now or never.
Julia Grosso from Vancouver to win it for Canada! Canada came! Canada conquered!
Stephanie, what about for you, the significance of this win?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I know back in 2012, the team inspired so many young girls to want to pick up a soccer ball and start playing soccer. And some of those girls that were inspired then are now on this team and have brought this team to the next level, which is, top of the podium. And I think we have to continue moving forward from there and continue to inspire young boys and girls to want to play football, to want to grow the game in our country. And in order to do that, just like Christine said, we need to continue to push to have a professional league in Canada. I'll quote Sinky from the other day, but the fact that we're Olympic champions and we don't have any professional teams in our home country is it's pretty unacceptable. So it's definitely something that as a team we want to continue to keep pushing for and keep moving forward to.
I want to talk about the Olympics a little bit, if I can. Christine, you have seen lots of Olympic Games. You know what the experience is like in, can I call it a normal, non-pandemic Olympic Games? What was it like, Christine, to be in Tokyo?
I mean, obviously, it's been a very different experience. But, to be fair, we've felt safe the entire time. We've had zero interaction with the local Japanese people. But then to be able to come to the village and experience the Olympics, it's been wonderful these past 4 or 5 days to see other athletes, to interact with them and have that little bit of freedom and to experience the Olympics. But I'll take the pandemic Olympics because we got one of these. Yeah.
And so that kind of leads me to another one of the themes of these Olympics, and Simone Biles put it out front and center and got a huge amount of support, and that is speaking openly not only of the huge pressures of the Olympics, but in her case, how she was struggling to deal with the pressures. And I think, people really, as I say, responded positively to her making that part of the conversation. Stephanie, as a keeper for a soccer team, I think you've talked in the past about the pressures of that. How did you deal with that? How difficult was that? And add to that the expectations of changing the color of the medal.
Yeah, I think, everything aside, the pandemic, first and foremost, I think had an effect on all of us in different ways. And coming here to the Olympics is something that we've all pushed and strived to do and to be here. But once you get here, those challenges and the stresses that we've been through over the past year and a half, they don't just go away. I know for me personally, between the quarterfinal, the semifinal, and going into the final, the days between the games were very challenging in terms of the fatigue levels, then the mindset of constantly having to recover from a game and then rebuild for the next game. The neuromuscular system and the emotions are going up and down constantly, and to be able to keep that steady is really challenging. And there were some days I had to lock myself in a dark room and avoid all stimulation because it can get really, really hard to continue to manage that. But I think, for me, it was using the resources that I had and continuing to rely on the strength that I've built over the past few years. But everybody's different. Everybody has different challenges, and I think we all face it differently. But I think the biggest thing is to remember that we're all human. We all have different journeys, and we all have different experiences. And just because you're at the Olympics, it doesn't mean the struggles and the challenges go away.
I really appreciate the honesty of that answer, and I think that will be maybe one of the legacies of these games, led by Simone Biles, that people will talk more candidly about those kinds of issues, because they certainly obviously affect us all and certainly affect elite athletes like the two of you. Christine, let me finish with this. I find it so interesting and not surprising that when I asked you what this gold medal means, you talked about the state of women's soccer in Canada. And in most of your answers from both of you, you talk about your team. It is a team sport. But at the same time, both of you are stars. Christine, much has been said about your lifetime of stardom for the Canadian team. And so let me ask you this on an individual level. What's next for you? Have you thought about that? What do you feel the next step is?
Getting to the closing ceremonies. Honestly, coming into these Olympic Games, obviously I've been asked a lot about my future in the sport, and I decided coming here that I wasn't going to make a decision about my future out of joy if things ended well or sadness if they didn't. I've never made decisions in my career based on emotions, so I'm going to go home, spend some time with my family, and reevaluate things. But yeah, the gold medal, I'm not going to lie, this one means a lot. As an individual, as a team, we have fought through so much. There's been years where we've been like, is it worth it? Because it was just a constant battle and a constant struggle. And then, yeah, to finally stand on top of a podium, hear your national anthem, whatever I decide to do in the future, I don't know if anything can top what we've experienced these past couple weeks.
Well, a lot of people across this country, as you know, have been basking in the glow of your medal. Congratulations to both of you, and thanks very much to speaking with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Ian.